The movie has been billed as so scary that viewers can't finish it.
And you guys may know that this movie had some very unique marketing, claiming it's the scariest movie ever made.
I just watched the scariest movie on Netflix, Veronica, with all my friends. We just had our socks scared off of us.
Actually, it's not that scary. So back in 2018 when I was young and could stay up late, me and my friends decided to watch the movie Veronica on Netflix. Now this wasn't just any foreign film, no. This little foreign film was being called the scariest movie on Netflix at the time. So scary that people got about halfway through and then couldn't finish the movie because it was just too spooky. So me and my girls did the absolute unthinkable. We sat down and were planning to watch the movie in full because we thought we could handle that. And spoiler alert, we actually did get through the full movie because all those articles written about it were absolute overhype. So to wrap up spooky season today, we're going to be talking about the movie Veronica, and specifically how little old me can prove that the overhype that journalists gave it are actually what led to the movie's downfall amongst the masses. Because truly the movie did flop amongst general audiences, which is very much credited to these articles. The movie starts by giving us what is the end of the movie. Police are at a house in the AM and shit's clearly going down that we can't see. And we immediately get thrown into meeting our main characters. You have Veronica, shocker I know, her siblings Irene, Lucia, and Antonito, and we later see her mom who has like minimal screen time because she's a hard-working mother. We also learn that Veronica's dad is just long-haired Commander Irwin, and much like Commander Irwin, he's fucking dead. And of course, because this is a paranormal / possession movie, we know that this is going to be very important to the plot. Dead dad, plot-worthy material. Conveniently, as they start talking about the superstitions behind the eclipse, which is like odd to me because, you know, I'd figure that because it's a Catholic, Christian, or some sort of religious school that they'd be kind of against doing that, because, you know, alarm bells. Veronica's friend Rosa passes her a note asking if Veronica has it. It ends up being an Ouija board that Veronica, Rosa, and Rosa's friend Diana use in the basement of the school to do a seance, and surprise, they do make contact with someone and they do believe that it is Veronica's father. However, this is going on as the eclipse is beginning, and based off what we learned from the teacher, and the fact that this is an hour and 45-minute long horror movie, we know that this can't be her dad. The eclipse is completed, and of course shit starts going down all at once. As Rosa goes to check on Veronica because Diana's a little bitch and bails as soon as she can, we get the absolute scariest moment in the entire movie, which just kind of foreshadows what scary events lie ahead for us. Did y'all really expect me to not clown on this part? Listen, as someone who likes this movie, I have to say that this part, it's bad. They turned Veronica into the female Titan for scaries. Actually, scratch that. They turned Veronica into Big Mouth character for scaries, which is actually scaring because Big Mouth is a pretty bad show, but I digress. When Veronica gets home that same day, she goes to put the Ouija board that's been fucking karate chopped in half away on top of her dresser, and as she's walking away, more spooky shit happens. So you're gonna sit here and tell me that you see that this bag got fucking launched about halfway across your room out of absolutely nowhere, and you're just gonna keep hiding it and keep it in your room? That's a red flag. Spooky shit's gonna happen. You might as well have just burned it. Movie would have been over. Everybody claps. The end. Now, there's a lot of small spooky moments in this movie that I'm not going to be showing because I need y'all to experience some things on your own for the first time. But this next part's just too funny to pass up. Veronica warms up dinner for the kiddos and is struggling herself to eat a singular meatball. She's frozen up and scaring the kids enough to have them radioing her abnormal behavior to one another. And it's all weird, but the best part of all that is definitely this.
Menos mal que ponía Brezazi. Verónica.
Veronica put a singular meatball in her mouth, and we see her do it. That shit is dry as hell, no sauce, maybe some grease or something, but that shit is fucking Sahara Desert dry. And suddenly this bitch is spitting out like a 4th cup of ragu. You know, you really have to give her credit because they definitely made her like put sauce in her mouth in order for like her to do that, to make it look scary and all that, when really, girly just looks like a rejected overcooked character. Later that night, Veronica wakes up because of some noises, which I don't know how she heard with those massive ass headphones on, and it's her siblings hiding in her closet. Hiding from what, you may ask? Well, you know, the usual. Just her dead dad, pants down, pee-pee out, and walking towards her. You know, normal Tuesday. So her dad turns into what I can only see as Demon Groot and is about to touch her when...
Oh my god, it seems that I was in a dream.
It's at this point we get to see what is the second selling point of the movie, Creepy Nun number 2000. Because for some reason, we were obsessed with creepy nuns from like 2016 to 2018. Probably because a creepy priest would be a little too accurate, but anyways. The nun's sister Death basically serves as exposition for the movie and tells Veronica that she fucked up big time and that she has to protect her siblings now. Vague as hell, of course, because we can't reveal anything yet. There's still about an hour left to this movie. We can't spell everything out just yet. So Veronica does take the nun's advice and decides to draw protection symbols to put over her siblings' beds, which, spoiler alert, yeah, they don't really do a whole hell of a lot. It's at this point that you could kind of tell the direction in which this movie's going in, because Veronica kind of looks like she's strangling her sibling in this part, and the siblings do call her out for that, but she does say that she's trying to protect them. It's just foreshadowing for the ending with how traumatized the sisters look, and, you know, it being a possession film. The next morning, Veronica's siblings wake Veronica up because they're hungry little children. But they kind of just cope with Veronica wanting to catch some extra Z's by,
¿Quieres jugar a un juego? ¿Te va a gustar? Sí. Dame el brazo.
¿Qué dices?
yeah, they go full Nikocado avocado on her ass. After crying for her mom tells her she needs to grow up. Part of the conversation in the last scene that I left out, because truly, it's so good, you gotta watch it on your own. So she induces her period and...
It seems that I was in a dream.
Except not really, because she actually got her period, which, yes, is a very weird sub-point within this movie that they decided to recall back here. The whole period subplot's a little bit weird to me because I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish here. Are they saying she's grown up now? Because I'd argue that taking care of your siblings constantly kind of means you're mature. Or did the demon induce the period so she'd check under the bed to see the weird burns? Because that's like also kind of weird and I don't see why that would be necessary. But whatever, Mr. Plaza said girl power. It's at this point Veronica goes into overdrive and goes to Sister Death to figure out what she needs to do because clearly the symbols didn't do jack shit. We learn in an overly long bit that because Veronica didn't say goodbye, she needs to redo the seance and say goodbye because that's the reason the spirit is living rent-free in their apartment. And technically somewhere else, but I'm not gonna spoil it yet, even though I kinda already did. Veronica goes to Rosa's house and tries to get her and Diana to redo the seance with her, getting her fucking ejected from the place that they're throwing a party in. And we learned that while Veronica was possessed in the basement, she whispered to Rosa that today is the day she, Veronica, is going to die. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the only reason these friends exist in this entire fucking movie. Hence why I haven't talked about them since, because literally, that is the only reason they're there, to deliver that shocking little twist right there. They're that unnecessary to the plot, which makes me sad, because they probably could have been used more, but whatever. Go off, Mr. Plaza. So since the girls won't do the thing with her, and because she needs to protect her siblings, Veronica does the smartest thing humanly possible. She recruits them to be extras in the seance. Big sister of the year, folks. Honestly, that does sound something like a big sister would do, considering my friends that are older sisters. Never mind, checks out. She has Antonito draw protection symbols on the wall, which she actually ends up drawing an invocation symbol because for some reason Veronica really trusted a full-blown toddler, a toddler whose entire point is that he pees the bed constantly, to draw the important symbols on the wall so they can cast out the spirit and protect themselves, and nothing could possibly go wrong here. Veronica does the seance with the twins, but not Antonito, because as mentioned earlier, they need odd numbers in order for the seance to go really well. Which, if they needed odd numbers, she could have just done it by herself. I don't remember if there's a rule against that, but you know. Maybe don't include the tiny children? But I guess she figures that if shit's gonna go down, she might as well traumatize everyone. Of course shit goes down and Veronica frantically calls 911 as we saw in the beginning and tries to get all her siblings out of the house. Yeah. You'd think that the siblings who've been very vocal characters throughout this entire time whenever Veronica's done something odd would have said something about her just pretending to carry Antoinito, but I guess now's where they finally said we're not gonna fuck around with Veronica anymore and just stayed silent. It's at this point after getting bitch slapped by Demon Groot and looking for Antoinito creepily that Veronica, not the viewer because I figured that we'd figure this out based on the genre and everything else that's happened, is the Demon Groot in the house. The movie basically shows that everything that's happened has been Veronica's doing, from choking her siblings to other things that I didn't show. Because of this, Veronica tries to end it all, but she's stopped by the demon who proceeds to fist her throat. Some real monster fucker shit here, but I respect it. This is what the cops saw at the beginning, minus the Demon Groot, so you just see her in full big mouth mode, and then she falls to the floor. Now the cop has to write a report on the incident because Veronica does die, which is shown symbolically with the lighting going back to normal in the house and her picture burning up, and you know, the cop getting a call about it. And in the end, the cop writes about the incident and what I'm assuming are the notes as well as pictures from the case that this was based on. Yeah, this movie was based on a full-blown real case. Didn't you know that? Well, you probably didn't because everybody and their mother would rather talk about how absolutely terrifying this movie is than the actual real hook to this movie. The fact that it's based on something that kind of happened. And that's Veronica. Now, with all of this being said, I very clearly have a bone to pick with this movie. And no, it's not about the weird mouth scenes. It's more so about the journalists who wrote about this movie than anybody directly involved in the movie. Veronica as a movie clearly suffered from journalist-induced overhype. And I know with 100% certainty that the overhype that journalists generated are the main reason why this film has such a skewed audience to critic score. And I can actually prove it. If you look up the movie Veronica online, you're gonna find a ton of articles that talk about how this is the scariest movie on Netflix and that people had to stop watching it halfway through. Or one of many other variations of the same exact title. And while the articles are publicity and are good advertising, I mean, that's what made me and my friends watch it, it does the movie a disservice that's probably not intended, but still relevant to talk about. Veronica is your typical possession film. Some people use a Ouija board, shit goes down, somebody dies or somebody doesn't die. That's the only real variation. It's not new, it's not revolutionary, we've seen it tons of times before and we'll see it tons of times after this. But what really puts Veronica apart from the others is that it does have the hook that it is based on a real life case. That should have been what was discussed regarding the movie. The true story angle could have easily gotten people's attention. I mean, BuzzFeed Unsolved is absolute proof that people eat up real life spooky shit like that. But instead, journalists took a too scary to watch approach, which again does generate attention, but it also generates hype. And as we all know, when something cannot live up to the hype that it's gotten, you leave people very disappointed and very upset. Which, in my opinion, probably explains why the audience score is drastically lower than the critic score, and majority of the audience scores focus on how it was overhyped and how it's really not that scary as they were made to believe it was with all of these articles that came out regarding this movie. Veronica is not a bad movie by any means. I actually really enjoyed it, and that's saying quite a lot considering what I think about paranormal movies. Same thing, just different shapes. Hot take, I know. But to say that it's the scariest movie on Netflix and so scary you might stop watching it halfway through, now that is a frightening over-exaggeration, which unfortunately led this movie to flop amongst the masses due to the overhype that journalists generated. They said Veronica was too scary to finish, they finished it, and were mad that they finished it, so they gave the movie a stupidly low score because of that. So this Halloween, I recommend that you curl up and throw on some Netflix and watch the movie Veronica. Sure, it won't scare you half to death, but it's a good movie nonetheless. And again, that's saying a lot coming from a picky bitch like me. Just don't go in expecting it to be the scariest thing you'll ever watch, because truly, that is an expectation that no horror movie on Netflix is ever gonna meet. But yeah, that is it for this video on Veronica, and that is a wrap on all the spooky season content. I hope you guys really do go check out Veronica though, because I did actually really enjoy the movie, and it's not bad. Paco Plaza really outdid himself with this one. I left out a lot of the more subtle spooky moments, as well as some of the family drama drama because it is very interesting and does have an impact on the story, which you should watch for yourselves. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below, or else, you know, I can't promise that Demon Groot won't come and get you. Now, I'm not saying that I could like summon him or some shit like that, but do you really want to take that chance? Also, feel free to subscribe down below if you're new here. I'm planning on uploading videos on movies once a month instead of twice a month like I did this month. This was a special occasion because of Twitter and Spooky Season. Twitter voted on another horror movie, that's why y'all got another horror movie. Which, speaking of voted on, there should be a poll currently in the community tab to vote on what will be the first video of November. It's a poll up on two things that I personally didn't want to pick between, and since Twitter got this video, you guys get to vote on the next one. It's only fair. And if you feel like it, feel free to leave a horror movie recommendation down below because clearly Netflix isn't giving me anything. But until that next video, have a happy Halloween and I will see you guys later. Bye!